we spend this podcast, Jen, trying to get our community to have a North Star, which is to self fund lifestyle by design to the tune of $2,000 per week by buying established residential property. And quite often, when people think of that phase that they move into in terms of the financial independence, it's exciting, and the thought of being able to achieve that is pretty good. But you've got three phases of retirement that I'd like you to define. And I think it will be helpful for our audience because we probably spend most of the time in this pod planning for phase one, but probably not as much time thinking about phase two and phase three. So what are
Yeah,
they?
yeah. So research has shown that the average Australian will have three phases in their retirement. And as you have just said, most people think about the first phase, and that's what we call the active years. So this is your initial years of retirement. And obviously for everybody, these phases, there will be different timeframes depending on your health span as well as your lifespan. So how healthy, how well you are, whether or not you suffer any major health issues, and so on. But we break it down into the active years, the quiet years, and the frailty years. So people plan for the active years, and this is where you think about I need this much income because I want to have a European trip every year, or I want to hitch up the caravan and travel around Australia. So I need money to pay for my lifestyle based around activities and based around the nice idea of retirement. Playing golf with your buddies or tennis with your girlfriends or whatever floats your boat. And that's what people think about in terms of retirement. But we find that generally lasts for about a third of the retirement. Some people more, some people less. And then comes to the quiet years. So the quiet years we define as those years when maybe you've stopped doing quite so much travelling, you've put the caravan away, sold the caravan, you're spending more time at home, you might be starting to have some health issues, starting to sort of interact with the health system a bit, and you're spending more of your time at home, maybe bouncing the grandkids on the knee. That generally lasts maybe 10 to 15 years. And I don't like to put an age around these because it's so different for people depending on their health. But what we have found is that the average Australian will spend around 20 to 25% of their retirement in what we call the frailty years. And the frailty years are when you actually are starting to experience some fairly major health issues. You might be having mobility issues, and you might be needing to access some fairly significant amount of care from family or from friends or from the aged care system to be able to perform the tasks of daily living. So, and people tend to sort of put their head in the sand and not think about that final sort of phase of retirement. But the majority of us will need to think about that because it is going to be something, if we're lucky, it is something that we are going to be experiencing if we live to that ripe old age where we need to, our health might decline. There are those lucky people that will live in, rude good health up until the day they pass away in their sleep. But the reality is there is a certain percentage of us that will need to access care services and interact with the care system.